Good morning, everybody. Hope you had a great evening last night. The rain started here about 4 o'clock yesterday and lasted to about 7. And we got 2.47 inches of rain officially, surpassing the previous record of 2.45 inches. When moisture comes to the plains, it usually comes in the form of a shower, not warm front movement like you get east of the Mississippi. And when it rains here, it can pour, as it did yesterday. But we'll take the moisture. Right now, we're only about inch and a half behind where we normally are at this time of year. So we've had a lot of rain in May and June. Had nothing between last August and May to speak of. So we're grateful. We'll take it any way it comes to us. When you get into the more arid regions of the world, no one complains about gully washers, so to speak. Okay, today's the 5-year auction. It's probably the biggest dynamic that we will face today. And my guess is we're under the pattern that we've been under most of the year, 3-up auctions. So I expect us to auction at a higher price than we did yesterday. And yesterday, 12.5, 13 is where the market was. I forgot what the coverage was. I think it was 3.22, which is averaging with a 4-point tail. So it was deemed average by most of the players that opine or weigh in on auctions. Today we do have news. We have durable orders up 0.4. They'd like to see positive numbers here, ex-transportation, plus 0.3. They'd like to see capital orders, manufacturing equipment, computers, etc. pick up. GDP was minus 1% last time. They're calling for minus 1.8. Now that's a big number, big change in the previous number. So there's room for disappointment in this GDP number. And if it comes in better than this 1.8, the stock market can rally. And that would hurt the financials briefly, but probably not change their upward path due to the auction. And then crude inventories, minus 1.2. Okay, yesterday our oil companies were given the right to export crude oil. And there's an abundance of light crude oil in the United States. A lot of our refineries were switched over to heavy crude, heavy sulfur to handle imports from Venezuela and parts of the world that lift heavier oil. The shale plays in Texas and North Dakota and Wyoming have added an abundance of light crude. In fact, there's a discount for light crude in the central part of the United States right here because of that. So that actually makes sense to allow us to export oil as you move supplies from refineries that are built to run on light from those that are designed and built to run on heavy. So I would say news-wise, ex-transportation will be 1, 2 for durable orders, and then 3 the GDP revisions. But because this is such a big number, this could rally if it comes in less than that, rally the stock market. Last month it was minus 1%. So now, once these numbers are past us, then the focus goes back to the 5-year. And we had the auction yesterday, took place right here, the 13 area, and the market's been straight up since then. So if we come back and we The last rotate down yesterday afternoon was 15.5. The overnight session low is 17.5. So we're going to try to buy 13s to 17s off of a news spike. We'll probably have to raise that up if the news comes in as forecast this morning. And I don't really like the sell side, but if we fail to take out 24, 28, I can be a seller at 23 to 27. The 31 to 03 area makes some sense. I mean, it's a round number. Somebody will take profits against 125. And then our second buy zone will be 5 to 9. So we got news to get through first. Then we've got the auction to negotiate and work. And that's how the day should go. Oh, that's where we're going to start today from a planning standpoint. Now, 17s, I'm just, the 13 to 17s out there for a new spike. If we aren't able to get down and test the 16 area, then our buy zone is going to jump up to 18 to 19. Okay, the knob spread strengthened overnight. The 30-year is holding its own. And again, like we talk about regularly now, getting long the 30-year, short the 10-year on Friday or Monday before an auction week usually is pretty rewarding. Okay, we got this low volume area right here starting from 11 to 16. So this is pretty good resistance. Selling failure basically to take out 12 to 16 would be the play. And like I said, when we have an auction, it's really difficult to take the market straight up. Second sell will be 19 to 23. We'll come back and see how the GDP affects these numbers. We'll make 1 to 29, buy 1. And buy 2, 21 to 25. Okay, gold got hit last night. Crude had a spike up. The selling in gold came right off the opening with the spike in crude, and I don't know why one move. Usually they tend to move in the same direction. But gold is just really subject to the influence of large players. Pretty hard to get around that. It's fairly easy to manipulate. A $500 million order placed at the market can move this thing $10 in price, and has. So we're rejecting prices below 11, and we've got a seller at 25 as it stands right now. So right now, yesterday we were trying to buy 7s to 10s. The number 2 buy zone we got down there. So right now we're going to make our buy 9 to 11. And if we get down, if we take out the overnight session low, we're probably headed to 1300. So we'll make 1300, 1303 buy 2. On the sell side, London capped out at 16 yesterday. The last 2 days, 15s to 17s has been kind of a breaking point in the market. So I think we can go a little higher. So 18 to 20, sell 1 leaning against the overnight session high. Things in Iraq are starting to look pretty dicey. And the reason is as you would expect when a dictator, I'm not saying Malaki's a dictator, but he'd sure like to be, can't hold the ground around his power base, he will secure his power base. And Iran has gone out and taken over the 2 religious shrines in Karbala, and I forget the name of the other city. And Malaki's troops are guarding the capital. I don't think you can take the capital over, though, just because 2/3 of Baghdad is Shia. And they sure as hell ain't going to lay down and play dead for the Sunnis that are taking their city. It'll be interesting. Let's say the Sunnis do prevail. What happens when they've won Baghdad? Do the Sunnis turn it over to ISIS? The ruling Sunni tribal leaders in Iraq, I doubt that. Those might be their buddies, the enemy of their enemies, and all that is all fine and good, but they're not going to turn their land over to those people. So after that, the bloodletting would become between the Sunnis and the ISIS folks, and the Sunnis would win because they control the ground. So it's a pretty dicey situation. I mean, the news is whipping up a stir about the caliphate as being formed right now, and the West better watch out. Just from reading history, this is the 5th time the genie has come out of the bottle, and it is a religious war. If you're not a Muslim, if they don't take your head off, they're going to make you pay higher taxes. And like it or not, you have to confront these people. It's not negotiable. Like, you can't talk religion amongst different people. They'll do nothing but upset them. I mean, it's a non-negotiable point. This is just the way it is. So the West over time will have to solve that problem. Okay, we've got a lot of good volume down here, starting at 75 to as low as 50. So 50 to 75 is pretty good support off these volume nodes. You can see resistance up here starts in the 30 area. We left last night wanting to sell 20s to 30s. I think that's reasonable. It's fairly aggressive. Then 40 to 50. I'm going to put an interesting article up on the euro, and it's about capital flow, why the euro is as strong as it is. It's a different take on the market, a different way of looking at things. It's the basis of the article is that as capital stops flowing freely around the globe, it tends to stay at home. Well, duh. I mean, the statement's one and the same. And because capital is not flowing freely around the globe, and a lot of that is this new bank regulation, that the money in Europe will stay in Europe and chase investments in Europe, meaning that they have the lower interest rates, which normally would drive hot money to other countries, is going to stay at home. So I'll put that up for you currency players that you can read later on today. So 35.90 to buck, 136 even, and 35.65 to 75. Okay, crude. We talk about the long-term directional move of crude and gold until proven different is to the upside. And the spike in crude, if anything happens, the bottom doesn't fall out of the crude market usually on news. The top comes out. So we have Russia has asked, Putin has asked their parliament to rescind his ability to cross into the Ukraine at will to protect Russian citizens. That can be quickly reinstituted. So we have pretty good support at 50, and we have really, really good resistance into 70. I mean 107.50. So right here, we're at 106.37, 75 to the buck, sell 1, 25 to 50, sell 2. On the buy side, we'll make it 75 to 106, buy 1, and 25 to 50 for buy 2. So price of oil right now, some people say the refinery in Iraq has fallen. Some people say that the government is still in control of it. So that's an unknowable, I would say, at this time. But the price of crude is telling us that the rebels do not control that refinery yet. So we're going to remain buyers at 105.50 or better, and sellers 107 plus until things change. Okay, on the E-mini, can we get 2 days of selling? Now, I think there's one sell left in the E-mini today. We've got this single print at 147, so 1945 to 47 is resistance. But if we don't take out the overnight low, then we've had 1 day of selling by the trading community. It's been very, very difficult to sustain selling. Yesterday's selling was attributed to the news out of Iraq. Syria entered the fray and bombed ISIS rebels inside of Iraq. That was supposedly the story, but we only went 1 tick above 1959.75. No one was really interested in buying it up there, and so the market came off, and the more we sold, the more we sold. So we got pretty good resistance right here at 45.47. It is an aggressive trade, no doubt. We do have news, the GDP news, because it is so bad, could take this market lower. We may have to engage the market at 40 this morning. Very comfortable engaging the market at 35.37. So we'd like to buy the 35.37 area. Can pay 40 plus or minus. The first trade of the day, the first sell is 45.47. It's just based on structure, retesting the overnight session low. If the overnight session low holds, then people will cover their shorts and get long. So I do like the buy 2 at 35 to 37, and naturally we would like to sell against 1950, a pretty round number. It'll take about 20 minutes to get around the horn, get everything published and put up. I'll get on that right now. I'll be back with you as soon as possible.